Ladies and gentlemen, Dave, OrgoneGenerator.com. I want to talk to you about like a really important concept really quick, okay? So I want to talk about what me and Nick and our crew call the rebound effect. And this is something that happens if you're running an operation on someone and then you stop. Okay? So the more that life energy works the best when it works with other life energy. It works the best as like a nudge. And by nudge, I mean like the person was already like, let's say you're targeting a person, okay, on an operation. They were already inclined to go in that direction, and then you help nudge them along that direction, okay? It's really hard to, with enough energy, anything is possible. But it's really hard to make someone do something that they would never do, for instance, okay? And so what we have noticed over the years is that when the more that someone would be against an outcome that you want, the more they would be against it. That there can be a rebound effect. You can sit there and try to shove them in it with a bunch of juice. We've used a lot of juice on this sort of thing. You can sit there and shove them in it, and layer them up with operations and do all these things. But when they come out of it, they will, like, there's a rebound effect because they weren't really inclined to do that. So you can almost have like, it would be the type of thing of just like someone is like, doesn't really want to give you a job, and then like you make them do it, and then you turn the operation off, and suddenly they're like, no, this is no good. This is no good. So, and you get fired or something like that. So what I want to say is like, consider that. Like, we think about operations as like the best way to do them. The absolute best way to do them is to work with life energy. Because think about it. When someone feels a certain way, that's life energy, right? Maybe they have like habits. Maybe they have, that is like life energy over time. Kind of like, I think habits are streamlined life energy in a way. And so let's say someone has like a really good habit and they've been doing it for years. If you try to get them to not do that habit, you're working against multiple years of life energy. It's not to say it's impossible. With enough energy, anything is possible. And we've seen some really, really crazy stuff. But I just want you to know that like there's something that we think of, like if I run an operation on a person, I always consider the rebound effect. I always consider like how hard am I having to work for this? How much do I have? Take a DMV. And I wrote a blog post about this years ago. The DMV workers, like they're there like 9 to 5. Like they don't care that much, all right? They'd like to keep their jobs. They see a lot of people. So like getting them, nudging them, directing them is not that big of a deal. But if someone has like a really deeply held belief and they've got habits and they've set their life up around it and all that stuff, running operations on them to like do the opposite of that, that's going to be hard. I do think it's possible, right? You're just going to need a lot of juice, but it like this stuff works much better with when it's working like with someone else's life energy, because our bodies do generate life energy. Our bodies do generate life energy. And you actually might be surprised how much life energy our bodies generate. I was surprised the first time I saw it. A generator is just 24/7, like, and has a lot of power. But like someone who's really like ingrained a belief and a habit in themselves, it can be challenging to do like the opposite of that, for instance. And that shouldn't change your belief in a generator. You should just take it as a data point. Okay, so consider anytime you run like an operation on someone, or operations on multiple people, do consider like the practical situation. Again, we always talk about operations as like logistical. Okay, like who are the targets? What is the trend? And just realize that if an operation, if you're really like kind of moving someone towards doing something that they would not otherwise do, assuming their belief and their habits and their thinking is very strong against what you're getting them to do, then you have a rebound effect. We've noticed this. Like they might be more, once the operation turns off, they might get more mad at you or something like that. Okay, so we have noticed that in the past. I always think about it, think about the rebound effect. So I just wanted to tell you about it because I think it is important in terms of like framing what you can use a generator for and like the type of manifestations that it works best with. Works best with life energy. Okay, and if someone's been doing so, I mean, at the same time, we always have examples of people who, even though like they've been doing something for a long time, the generator really does alter them, But I just wanted you to be aware of that. I think it's an important topic. It's something I think about if I'm going to run an operation on someone. Like, am I really making them do something they don't want to do? Do they not care that much? Am I working with their life energy? What are their constraints? What are their constraints about doing that thing? So we call this the rebound effect. I think it's an important topic. Would love to hear some stories about like whether anyone else has experienced this, because we definitely have. And if you want to learn more about this sort of topic that's like more detailed, what I would suggest is you join our school, school.com/Orgone. In our school, I mean, you can tell us like what operations you're running or considering running, and we'll give you really good tips on it. That's what the school is for. So join our school. It's skool.com/Orgone. And the purpose of that is to like be a knowledge center. Okay, like a place you can read other people's experiences as well. Like you'll have some realizations. So I would really like for you to check that out, because there's not been a place in a while. Like Carl used to have a forum, but there's not been a place in a while where all the knowledge could be gathered together. So we can learn together, connect with other people. You can get our best tips and tricks, get personalized advice. So recommend you join that, but consider the rebound effect when you are running an operation on another human. And yeah, that's it. Think about it. If you've been using a generator, if you've used a generator before, maybe you've already experienced this, but you didn't know what it was. All right, so think about that. Let us know if you have any questions, and we will talk to you soon.